Have you ever noticed how some mornings it feels like your knees just don't want to cooperate, or your hands are stiffer than usual, like they've been working all night while you were sleeping? It's easy to brush it off as just getting older, but what if part of the problem wasn't your age at all? What if it was what's on your plate? Now I know many of us try hard to eat well. Maybe you've swapped red meat for plant-based proteins, cut back on sweets, or started choosing whole grain everything. You read the labels, follow what the experts say, and maybe even treat yourself to the occasional superfood smoothie. But what if I told you that some of those very foods, the ones marketed as healthy, could actually be making your joint pain worse? That's what we're diving into today, because when your joints hurt, when it's hard to open a jar or go for a walk without aches slowing you down, it doesn't just affect your body, it affects your entire outlook on life. And if something in your healthy diet is adding fuel to that fire, wouldn't you want to know? In this video, we're talking about 5 foods that many people over 60 think are good for them, but in reality, they may be silently contributing to inflammation, stiffness, and joint damage. And don't worry, we're not just here to scare you. We're going to talk about better options too, so you can feel confident about what you're eating, and maybe even get a little spring back in your step. Let's start with a common one that might be sitting in your fridge right now: low-fat or fat-free yogurt. I know it sounds like the smart choice, especially if you're watching your weight or trying to keep cholesterol in check. But here's the thing, many of these so-called healthy yogurts are packed with added sugars and artificial sweeteners. Those ingredients might make the yogurt taste better, but they can also trigger inflammation in the body, especially in the joints. Sugar, even in small amounts, can increase the levels of cytokines, tiny proteins that cause inflammation, and that's a big deal when it comes to arthritis or joint pain. And if the sugar doesn't get you, the artificial sweeteners might. Some studies suggest that sweeteners like aspartame can actually stimulate an immune response in some people, which can make joint inflammation worse over time. So while you might be thinking you're doing your body a favor by choosing the healthy yogurt, your knees and hands might disagree. A better option: try plain, full-fat yogurt with no added sugar, then add your own fresh fruit or a small drizzle of honey. It's all about having control over what goes into your body. Now let's talk about another big one: whole wheat bread. I know, everyone says it's healthier than white bread. It's got more fiber, more nutrients. It sounds like the better choice all around. But if you've got joint pain, especially anything like osteoarthritis or rheumatoid arthritis, that lovely slice of whole wheat toast might be doing more harm than good. Here, why wheat? Yes, even the whole kind contains gluten, which is a known trigger for inflammation in a lot of people. Even if you're not officially gluten intolerant, your body might still react in subtle ways, like swelling in your joints, stiffness, or fatigue. For some folks, it's not dramatic. It just slowly chips away at how good you feel day to day. And that's what makes it snaky. You eat a sandwich or a muffin or a whole wheat wrap and you don't immediately feel terrible, but over time the inflammation builds. Your hands ache when you knit, your hips feel tight when you get out of bed, and you think, well, I guess that's just what getting older feels like. But what if it's not? The good news is there are plenty of gluten-free grains out there, like oats, quinoa, or even sourdough bread made with ancient grains that are gentler on the body. And you don't have to give up bread forever. Just being more mindful of how your body responds can go a long way. Now let's talk about something that's become a kitchen staple for anyone trying to eat clean: vegetable oils. You know, the ones canola, soybean, corn oil. They're often labeled as heart healthy and used in everything from salad dressings to baked goods. But what most people don't realize is that these oils are high in omega-6 fatty acids. And while omega-6s aren't bad on their own, the problem is that we get way too much of them, and not nearly enough omega-3s. Why does that matter? Because an imbalance between these two types of fats creates a breeding ground for inflammation. Omega-6s promote it, and omega-3s help calm it down. So when you're cooking with vegetable oils every day or eating processed foods that contain them, you could be tipping your body into a constant state of low-grade inflammation, which often shows up in the joints. Imagine pouring a little gas on a campfire every day. That's what these oils can do to your joints if your body's already dealing with wear and tear. Instead, try switching to extra virgin olive oil or avocado oil, both of which are rich in healthy fats that help fight inflammation, not feed it. They also taste better, if you ask me. It's easy to think that if something says low fat, whole grain, or heart healthy on the label, it's good for you. But after 60, your body becomes more sensitive to inflammation, and some of these so-called health foods can quietly work against your efforts to feel better. That's why it's so important to tune in, pay attention, and be willing to make small swaps that support your joints, your comfort, and your quality of life. Now that we've looked at how things like low-fat yogurt, whole wheat bread, and vegetable oils might be affecting your joints, it's time to keep going. Now that we've looked at a few everyday foods that could be quietly fueling joint pain, let's keep going, because the truth is, the foods we think are helping us can sometimes be the very ones holding us back. And once you know what to look for, the changes become easy. Your body starts to feel lighter, looser, even a little more youthful. It all starts with awareness. Here's one that might surprise you: certain vegetables. Yes, vegetables. I can already hear you saying, "Wait, I thought veggies were always good for me." And you're absolutely right, most of them are. But there's a small group called nightshades that can be problematic for people with joint issues. Nightshades include tomatoes, bell peppers, eggplants, and white potatoes. These veggies contain a natural chemical compound called solanine. For many people, solanine doesn't cause any issues at all. But for others, especially those over 60 dealing with arthritis or chronic joint pain, it can act as a trigger. The reaction isn't always immediate. Sometimes it builds up slowly, causing stiffness, swelling, or discomfort in the joints after regular consumption. It's frustrating, isn't it? You're doing all the right things. You add tomatoes to your salads, snack on bell peppers instead of chips. Maybe you even swapped sweet treats for roasted potatoes, and yet your knees still ache when you climb stairs. That nagging hip pain just won't go away. Could it really be from vegetables? Well, it could, not for everyone, but enough people have seen improvement after cutting back on nightshades that it's worth paying attention to. The best way to know: try removing them from your diet for a few weeks and see how your body responds. You might be amazed. And don't worry, you don't have to give up your beloved veggies altogether. There are so many wonderful alternatives. Try leafy greens like spinach and kale, colorful squash, carrots, or cauliflower. They offer just as much nutrition without the potential joint pain side effects. Now let's talk about another hidden source of trouble: fruit juice. That bottle of 100% orange juice in the fridge might seem like a wholesome choice. Vitamin C, antioxidants, a sweet way to start the day. But the truth is, fruit juice is basically sugar in disguise. Even when it's labeled all natural or no added sugar, it's still missing something crucial: fiber. You see, when you eat a whole orange, the fiber slows down the sugar absorption. But when you drink the juice, it's a sugar bomb straight to the bloodstream. That rapid spike can lead to increased inflammation throughout the body, including the joints. And here's something else. All that sugar can also increase uric acid levels, which is a known trigger for gout, a painful form of arthritis that affects the joints, especially in the feet and ankles. Even if you don't have gout, high uric acid levels can still cause discomfort and stiffness. Now, does that mean fruit is bad? Not at all. Whole fruit is still a great source of vitamins and antioxidants. But when it's been juiced, stripped of its fiber, and concentrated into a cup of liquid sugar, it stops being helpful and starts becoming harmful, especially for anyone trying to protect their joints. Instead of juice, try infusing your water with slices of fresh lemon, cucumber, or berries. You get the flavor and antioxidants without the sugar overload. Or if you're really craving something sweet, blend a whole fruit into a smoothie so you keep the fiber intact. This brings us to something else we need to talk about: packaged healthy snacks. The granola bars, rice cakes, or baked chips that line the health food aisles and make us feel like we're making the smart choice. But many of these snacks are loaded with refined carbs, preservatives, and omega-6 heavy oils that, as we mentioned earlier, feed inflammation. Take rice cakes, for example. They seem light, low-calorie, and innocent, but they're made from refined white rice, which has a high glycemic index. That means it spikes your blood sugar quickly, which then triggers insulin, and over time, that insulin response can lead to inflammation in the joints. Same goes for many protein bars or granola mixes. They're often sweetened with syrups or contain hidden additives that your body doesn't recognize or process well. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking, it's not candy, so it must be fine, but unfortunately, your joints may tell a different story. If you want a snack that supports your joints instead of sabotaging them, look for real, whole foods. A small handful of walnuts or almonds, a piece of fruit paired with nut butter, a bit of cottage cheese or a hard-boiled egg. Simple, satisfying, and gentle on your body. At the end of the day, the real goal isn't about following a perfect diet. It's about listening to your body, tuning into how you feel after you eat certain things. If something you thought was healthy is making you feel worse, it might be time to reassess it. You deserve to move with ease, to wake up in the morning without dreading that first step out of bed, to enjoy your walks, your gardening, your time with family, without those nagging aches stealing your joy. And if changing what's on your plate can help you feel better, stronger, and more mobile, why not try? There's one more snacky, healthy food we need to talk about, one that surprises almost everyone. There's one more sneaky, healthy food we need to talk about, one that surprises almost everyone. It's soy. Yep, soy milk, soy protein, tofu, veggie burgers, all those products that have been praised for being plant-based, heart-healthy alternatives. And to be fair, soy can be helpful in small amounts, especially when it's eaten in a more traditional, minimally processed form like edamame or tempeh. But when it comes to joint health, especially after 60, it's not always your friend. The problem lies in how much and what kind of soy we're consuming. These days, soy shows up in everything: snack bars, cereals, protein powders, salad dressings. And most of it is heavily processed and genetically modified. That kind of soy can be inflammatory for a lot of people, particularly if you already have sensitivities or autoimmune conditions. Plus, soy contains compounds called phytoestrogens. Now, for some people, especially postmenopausal women, phytoestrogens can be beneficial in small doses, but for others, they can throw off hormonal balance and even impact thyroid function. Why does that matter? Because your thyroid plays a big role in regulating inflammation, metabolism, and joint health. If your thyroid isn't functioning properly, your joints could pay the price. So what can you do if you've been using soy milk in your coffee every morning or leaning on veggie burgers for your protein? The answer isn't to panic, it's simply to pay attention. Try cutting back on processed soy products and see if your joints start to feel better. You might not notice anything right away, but over a few weeks, the stiffness, the swelling, the general discomfort, it just might begin to ease. There are so many great alternatives out there, too. Almond milk, oat milk, and coconut milk are all easy swaps. And if you're looking for meatless protein, try lentils, chickpeas, or eggs. They're nourishing, satisfying, and far less likely to mess with your joints. At this stage in life, your body is asking for something very specific. It wants support, it wants balance, it wants peace, and that means steering away from foods that stir up trouble, especially the ones that pretend to be good for you. It's easy to get caught up in labels, isn't it? We're told things like low-fat, heart-healthy, or plant-based, and we assume it must be the right choice. But the truth is, what's healthy for one person may not be healthy for another, especially when joints are involved. And when your joints are inflamed, your whole life can feel smaller. The things you used to enjoy, walking in the park, playing with grandkids, cooking, gardening, they all take a hit. But here's the good news. The moment you start making changes, even small ones, your body starts to respond. Joints that once felt stiff begin to move a little easier. Mornings aren't as tough. You find yourself walking a bit farther, reaching a bit higher, feeling more like you again. And that's the point of all of this, not to be perfect, not to follow some strict diet that makes you miserable, but to feel better, to live better, to have energy and freedom and movement, not just for today, but for all the years still ahead of you. You've made it this far in life with wisdom, strength, and resilience, and now it's just about giving your body the tools it needs to keep thriving. Start by taking a second look at the things you thought were helping and asking, is this really working for me? It's a process, and it doesn't happen overnight, but every swap you make, every time you choose something that nourishes instead of inflames, you're investing in yourself, in your comfort, your joy, your future. Let's quickly remind ourselves what we've talked about without making a list, because this isn't school and there's no quiz coming. It's just real life. We've looked at some common foods that wear a healthy label, like low-fat yogurt, whole wheat bread, vegetable oils, nightshade vegetables, fruit juice, processed snack bars, and soy products. And we've seen how they might actually be contributing to joint pain, inflammation, and stiffness. But more importantly, we've looked at what you can do instead, how a few thoughtful swaps and a little more awareness can give your body what it needs to move more freely, with less pain and more joy. You deserve that. You deserve to feel strong, mobile, and capable, not held back by foods that pretend to help but secretly harm. And the beauty of it all is that you don't have to overhaul your whole life. Just start small. One meal, one day, one better choice at a time. Now I'd love to hear from you. Have you noticed any foods that make your joints feel worse or better? What changes have worked for you? Your experience could be the exact encouragement someone else needs right now. So don't be shy, drop a comment below. And if you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe for more tips on living your healthiest, happiest life after 60. We talk about everything here, from food to energy to mindset, because feeling good isn't just about one thing, it's about the whole picture. Here to moving with ease, feeling your best, and living fully at every age. Because your best years aren't behind you, they're right here, waiting.